Okay, so thank you to our invited speakers, to Lucio, also to my colleague Yulika. My name is Nicolas Domke, and together with FAO, the Forestry Division of the FAO, with the FAO Subcommission at IPSA, we are organizing this Forest and Climate Transparency webinar series. So today is our second session of our first episode, the progress in Latin America and the Caribbean, with the cases of Costa Rica and Chile. And today we have two great speakers, Rafael Monge from Costa Rica and Georgina Trujillo from Chile. I will briefly introduce you both. Rafael holds a degree in economics from the University of Costa Rica. He's the director of the National Center of Geoenvironmental Information, CENIGA, of the Ministry of Environment and Energy, MINAE, who is the entity responsible for managing the National Environmental Information System and the development of the National Land Cover and Land Use and Ecosystem Monitoring System in Costa Rica, from where it supports the development of the new National Forest Inventory in Costa Rica. Thank you, Rafael, for being here with us today. Then we have Georgina Trujillo. She has a degree in geography and holds a master's degree and diploma in remote sensing applied on natural resource. Georgina is the coordinator of the team on the climate change department of the National Forestry Corporation, CONAF, of the Chilean Ministry of Agriculture. CONAF is the REDD+ focal point and leads the implementation of the REDD+ approach in the country, which includes the development of the National Forestry Inventory System, REDD+ report and support of the UNFCCC sector reports for the National GHG report. So thank you, Georgina, also for being here with us today. Now I will give you the floor to Rafael. You will have 15 minutes for your presentation. So please take the floor.
Thank you very much, Nicolas and colleagues. Just let me put my presentation on screen. Can you confirm? Is it okay?
Yes, you can see it.
Okay. Well, good morning, afternoon, evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to extend my warm greetings to all of you who are participating in this webinar and to those who will see the recording later. Thank you so much for being here today. It's my pleasure and honor to present the case of Costa Rica in the first episode of the Forest and Climate Transparency webinar series. My presentation today will focus on the future of forests in Costa Rica and the importance of the National Forest Inventory in the global context. Before I start, I would like to congratulate the FAO Subcommission of the International Forest Studies Association, IPSA, and the FAO Forestry Division organizing this initiative. I encourage you all to stay tuned to the next events they are organizing so you can learn more about the case studies on forest and transparency in different regions of the world. Well, let's move on to moving on to the contents of my presentation, we will cover the following topics. Firstly, I will give you some background information on Costa Rica's institutional framework and on the development of our first National Forest Inventory. Then we will discuss the design of our new National Forest Inventory, including its institutionalization, the sampling design, please remember to close your mics. Thank you. Also we'll talk about the comprehensive monitoring approach that will be implementing and how the taxonomic identification is being managed. After that, we will examine the different ways in which the collected information is used, including the transparency and open data. We will also look at the Sustainable Landscapes Initiative of the government of Costa Rica and the Latin American and the Caribbean National Forest Inventories Network. So let's get started. Thank you again for being here today, and I hope you find this presentation informative and engaging.
Es que nos invitaron nuestros amigos de los diablos.
Gracias a los colegas y pueden cerrar los micrófonos. Well, let's get started. In Costa Rica, we have been working on the development of a comprehensive monitoring system since 2015. The objective of this system is to provide periodic, high-quality information that allows us to evaluate the status of environmental resources, including the current status and changes in land cover and use, as well as the country's ecosystems. This information is essential for supporting that data-driven political decision-making, maintaining the quality and integrity of ecosystems and the environment, and responding to national and international information commitments. We call this system Simocute. And if you want to find out more, I invite you to visit the links to the case studies in English, French, and Spanish that we developed in coordination with. And also please visit our website, simocute.go.cr. So Simocute is the official platform for coordination, linkage, and institutional and sectorial integration of the Costa Rican government. The system is decentralized. The different institutions and initiatives provide data and information according to their roles and competencies, maintaining control over it and making it available under standards that allow its access and the use of common repositories. Simocute's conceptual framework covers the different elements of the system, integrating into 3 interrelated processes that seek to generate the necessary information to monitor the status and changes in land cover and land use and ecosystems, answering to the questions, what, how much, and where. The National Forest Inventory is a key component in the development of Simocute, which provides very valuable information to meet our objectives. Actually, in January, we held a seminar dedicated to share the progress in the planning of the National Forest Inventory of Costa Rica. We're calling it IFN-CR, like trademark, which we have uploaded also a playlist to YouTube with the recording of the presentation that were shared that day. And you can find it easily just typing IFN-CR on YouTube. However, they are in Spanish, so if you want to practice, you can visit them, or if you already speak Spanish, you'll have it figured out. We organized this event with our colleagues from the National System of Costa Rica of Conservation Areas, this is called SINAC. This is the institution that has the mandate to carry out the inventory of Costa Rica's forest resources according to our forest law, and they are leading this process. Adriana Aguilar, who is the woman in the picture, she is a forest engineer from SINAC's Department of Conservation and Sustainable Use of Biodiversity, and she is the coordinator of the National Forest Inventory. I want to take the opportunity to thank Adriana for her advice in developing this presentation, and also introduce you to her and tell you that she's willing to answer any technical questions that may arise during this seminar. So please feel free to contact us if you want to follow up. Well, Costa Rica has already has a first inventory carried out by SINAC, which corresponds to the baseline of the new inventory. This inventory was planned in 2012. field work was conducted in 2013 and 2014, and the dissemination of the results was done in 2015. The German Cooperation Agency provided technical and financial support for the inventory. Sampling units of 1,000 square meters of 20 times 50 were used, and 280 plots were measured in 5 operational regions and classified into 6 categories or strata. In this slide, you can see the cover of the results report, the visualization of the database on the portal of the Forest Resource Information System of Costa Rica that we call CIREFOR, and the map of forest types that was generated in this process. There is a section in the CIREFOR platform with all the documents of this inventory, and an important group of professionals were hired to develop this process or this initiative under the supervision of SINAC. Now, knowing this background, now let's move forward to the process of the new inventory. In 2017, a series of technical roundtables with Costa Rican institutions and the support of FAO and the US Forest Service were initiated to discuss the institutionalization of the new forest inventory. The proposal was well received, and the directors of forest resources and wildlife agreed to prepare a management plan that would enable the inventory to be integrated into the institutional framework. They worked on the management plan, and when it was ready, it was first presented to the executive director of SINAC and then to the National Council of Conservation Areas. In 2021, the council agreed to officially start the plan's implementation, which is a very significant milestone in the institutionalization process. Furthermore, an organizational structure was formalized that is based on the SINAC structure and includes the participation of different offices at the technical secretariat and the regional offices in the country. The structure ensures that the process is not confined to a single technical department, but is transversal. To ensure the successful institutionalization of the new inventory, it has been important to include it into SINAC's operational work plan, register it as a public investment project, and involve the entire institutionality into the process. Human resources must also be allocated, taking into account that the individuals supporting this process have many other activities that must be prioritized. The formalization of protocols is crucial to comply with the inventory's principles of transparency, consistency, comparability, completeness, and accuracy. Moreover, the new inventory can serve as a platform to standardize different monitoring activities carried out by SINAC, such as the National Program of Wetlands and Wildlife. To maintain the continuity of the inventory activities, they must be reflected in the articulation matrices of the budget plan and the commitment agreements of the officials and individual plans. Overall, the successful institutionalization of the new National Forest Inventory requires the commitment and cooperation of all the stakeholders involved. This new forest inventory has a very well-defined life cycle that consists of several phases. The initiation and formalization phase has already been completed, and the management plan has been approved. Now we are at the preparation phase. The manuals and forms for data collection have been developed, and capacity building and equipment purchase have been carried out. The inventory is now in the advanced preparation phase, and it will be soon moved to an execution phase. The execution phase consists of 3 major activities. The first is the field campaign, which will be carried out in a 4-year cycle. The second is a data processing and analysis, which takes 6 months. And the third is the preparation of our results report, which also takes 6 months. Finally, there will be a disclosure of results, and this new approach aims to lay the foundations for long-term institutional forest monitoring. Now let's talk about the sampling design. This new inventory covers the continental and insular territory of Costa Rica, including Cocos Island. This is important to mention because Cocos Island wasn't included in our first inventory. And to establish the sampling frame, an hexagonal mosaic was built throughout the country, resulting into 445 hexagons that generated a set of 10,239 points. 1 point was selected from each hexagon, resulting into 445 plots for the inventory. And for Cocos Islands, 21 points were defined using the same methodology. The inventory will be carried out in a 4-year cycle, as I mentioned before, and the design transition will occur over 3 cycles. The data for the 280 plots that were first used to cover the first forest monitor, and a transition that will be made to the new design. The main goal is to complete the transition process and mark all permanent plots by cycle 5.
Rafael, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll move. So also this new forest inventory has a comprehensive monitoring approach where we are aiming to analyze the different land use and covers that we will find. To achieve this, we have a list of variables that will be measured into plots with natural cover, agricultural territories, built territories, or bodies of water. The data will be taken at the plot, farm, and environment level, and an analysis of the drivers of change will be conducted. This inventory is using this analysis approach promoted by Simocute. And well, we have identified 11 land cover types, and well, there's more technical information that we can look up if you want to follow up. Also, we're putting a lot of attention to the taxonomic identification of species. There have been trainings on tropical dendrology, and also we're using the PlantNet tool, which uses AI to identify species. And well, this is in coordination with the National Museum of Costa Rica, who is the government authority on species identification. And well, it's very important to mention that transparency and open data sharing are essential principles in the work of forest inventory. This information will be shared through the platforms such as CIDE4 and Simocute, making it accessible to everyone. Also, this information will allow us to rethink the reference levels to produce REDD+ reports, to monitor our SDGs indicators, and to develop forest accounts. The use of open data will promote transparency, accountability, and better decision-making. And this will also be useful for the sustainable landscapes initiatives that the government of Costa Rica is implementing. And this is our proposal to implement the Glasgow Declaration on Forest and Land Use and contribute to the goal of 1.5 degrees Celsius. I can share more information if you're interested too. And finally, it's important to mention that Costa Rica has been an active member of the network of national forest inventories of Latin America and the Caribbean. This initiative helps to harmonize the information of forest inventories and promotes training and the exchange of knowledge among its members. There's a book published with 21 case studies, and we're hoping to continue our collaboration under this platform. And well, thank you for your attention. If you have any questions or want to continue the conversation, please do not hesitate to contact me through my social networks at Rafael Monge CR. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rafael, for your presentation, also for the invitation to connect with you and the efforts that you are making there in Costa Rica for forest transparency data. So thank you again, and also for refer this to this transparency concept in your presentation, which is related with the Article 13 of the Paris Agreement, in which the CBIT forest projects have their sustainability. And now I invite Georgina del Pilar Trujillo from Chile to give your presentation. Please share your screen and the floor is yours.
Okay. Give me a second, please. It's okay? Can you see?
Yeah, it's okay. Presentation mode. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Hello and good morning, everyone. I'm speaking from Santiago de Chile. I am Georgina. I am from the Chilean Forest Service, CONAF. It's la Corporación Nacional Forestal de Chile. I'm very happy to be with you today. Thanks, Rafael from IPSA. Thanks from Rocio from FAO for inviting me to participate in this webinar. My presentation will be mainly focused to talk to you about the importance of the consistency and coherence of the information that we use to prepare national reports, specifically under the framework of REDD+ from abroad, the REDD+ abroad from the UNFCCC, and under the National Forest Monitoring System. Well, as part of the REDD+ approach, Chile developed its national REDD+ strategy for climate change and vegetation resource. And what is this? The REDD+ strategy is a public policy designed to combat the climate change through actions focused on the management of the vegetation resource. The Chile REDD+ strategy was developed in through a participatory process that involved the execution of workshops with communities where the indigenous people and women were included. The main objective of our strategy is to reduce the vulnerability generated by climate change under the application of this REDD+ approach. But what is REDD+? REDD+ is a framework created by the UNFCCC to guide activities in the forest sector for reduced emissions from deforestation and forest degradation, as well as to sustainable management of forest and the conservation and enhancement of carbon stocks in developing countries. The implementation of this approach is voluntary and depends on the national circumstances, the capacities and capabilities of each developing country and the level of support received. The REDD+ approach is developed in three phases: readiness, implementation of REDD+ activities, and payment of for the emission reductions. Phase 1 of readiness consider the development of the national strategies or action plans. In Chile is the National Strategy of Climate Change. And in first place, and the development of the National Forest Monitoring System in second place. Also consider the creation of the Safeguard Information System and the submission of the forest reference emission level. Chile submitted its first reference level in 2016 to the UNFCCC. And the phase 2 of implementations refers to the execution of action or activities to reduce deforestation, reduce or decrease forest degradation, the conservation of carbon stocks, the enhancements of carbon stocks in quantity and quality, and sustainable management of forest. The phase 3 about the payment of verified emission reduction is the result of the activities implemented by the country. This payment, if occurs, is based on carbon accountability for the country performance in these mitigation activities, which are subject to exhaustive validation and verification process. During the second and third phases, the safeguard systems, safeguard information systems, and the measure and monitoring system, which houses the National Forest Monitoring, have been in operation. Chile has advanced in the application of REDD+ approach, and in 2018, we submitted our first emission reduction results report, the REDD+ annex, accessing to the payment for results of the REDD+ approach. Well, but we will talk about this later. Well, some technical considerations about REDD+ activities. What are the REDD+ activities and how are they calculated? There are 5 REDD+ activities, but we only report 4: deforestation, forest degradation, enhancement, and conservation. This could be in land use change and permanent forest. We basically use 2 elements for calculate the emission and emission reduction generated by these activities. We use 2 main elements, activity data and emission factors. They are used for both types of activities, land use change and permanent forest activities. For Chile, these elements come from existing data systems. The first is the forest cadastre from CONAF, and the second one is the National Forest Inventory that is done by Instituto Forestal de Chile, INFOR. And there is a third source, the historical records of forest fires. All of these elements have a strong satellite data component. We do all this work here in CONAF. As we just seen, the estimated are calculated on 2 main elements: activity data and emission factors. These are key elements for the estimation. The land use change area come from the forest cadastre, and the carbon stock and carbon stock change that are a mix of a lot of inputs. The official inputs to prepare this information is the land use and vegetation cadastre, the National Forest Inventory, and the land use change map. We today can we can we do a land use change map each 2 years. And in the process, there are a lot of units that participate. We are the Department of Climate Change and Ecosystem Service, and in CONAF collaborate to the Forest Ecosystem Monitoring Department, and we have technical and financial support from different entities. The World Bank, UN programs, WinRock, Instituto Forestal de Chile, and some universities in the country. Well, what do we do with this data, with the data that we generate in the country? These data are used for different national reports that Chile has committed. The first is the National Greenhouse Gas Inventory, the report of GHG from Chile, where we make the inputs from the land use chain and forestry sector, UNFCCC, where in Chile is the only one that historically represents carbon sink, reaching removals of almost 64,000 kilotons of carbon equivalent. This is in spite of the extreme events of forest fires in the summer season of the recent years. Yeah, the report of GHG from Chile is one of the first reports that we generate. As part of this report, there is the NDC nationally determined contribution, where the LULUCF has committed goals in mitigation action that are complementary to the committed carbon budget of Chile. We have 4 goals specifically for this sector, LULUCF sector. The first one is native forest, the sustainable management and recovery of 200,000 hectares of native forest. We have afforestation of 200,000 hectares, where 100,000 are permanent forest cover with at least 70,000 hectares of native species. The goal number 3 is emission reductions, specifically from the forestry sectors generated by deforestation and degradation in the 25% by 2030, it related to the forest reference emission level. And number 4 is a landscape goal, landscape restoration of 1 million of hectares restored by the year 2030. The country should account for progress and compliance with these goals through inventory reports using complete, transparent, and consistent data. Well, with the use of this data, the data that we generate under the different systems that we have installed in Chile, we had advanced in the presentation and updating of our first reference emission level, which was presented in 2016 to the UNFCCC. The reference level is a baseline against which the performance of the country in the implementation of REDD+ is evaluated. Yeah. Forest reference emission levels refers to activities that reduce emissions and Forest reference level refers to activities that enhance the removals. Our first reference level consider a period of 13 years from 2001 to 2015 with a total of 159,000 of emission. Yeah, there are two activities, conservation and enhancement, that represent absorption or removals from the atmosphere, but the reference level is emission as well. With this information, the information presented in the reference level, we presented our first technical annex of REDD+ result in 2018. Yeah, in this report, we demonstrated the result of our performance in the implementation of activities which allowed to reduce emission by more than 6 million of tons. Yeah. This work, this result came from the work carried out about different units from CONAF, such as environmental monitoring, forest fire protection, protected wild areas, and forest ecosystems. Among the different activities, we can mention fire prevention and firefighting budget increase, the increase in the surface of protected areas, sustainable forest management and afforestation program, among others. The protected areas are counted under the conservation activity and represent the activity that more removals obtained in this period. With this result, the first REDD+ annex result, Chile obtained funding from the Green Climate Fund, and we developed the Más Bosques project, which is executed by FIO in Chile, and CONAF is the responsibility entity from the Ministry of Agriculture. This project brings a great challenge for us and for the National Forest Monitoring System, because requires the carbon accountability and monitoring at the project level, leaving the regional scale. The reference level from Chile and the first technical annex of result was calculated in a region scale, but now we are changing the regional scale for the unit project scale. For this, we developed a series of computer tools to support the process. The main objective of all this development is the monitoring of the implementation through the different states of each project, from the project document. For us, it is the first step in a project, and application of environmental and social assessment in the safeguards work area, and the implementation of territorial actions. With this, we hope to have a series of forest carbon and non-carbon benefits. And the necessary monitoring action will be carried out for our team. This information, the information that we obtain from this process, will be used directly for the MDC report, REDD+ report, and the GCF specific report for the funding. The challenge of this project, more than the goal, no, we have 25,000 of hectares of sustainable management forest in afforestation or revegetation activities, forest restoration, preventive silviculture from forest fire, forest management, and good energy. We have the challenge today is to monitor each one of these activities and to be able to determine results in different areas, specifically the carbon accounting. Here, the data collected from the territorial activities will be fundamental for the country reports. Oh, this was the last one. Okay, well, that's what I do have to share with you today. I don't know if you have.
Thank you, Georgina, for your presentation, and also for to you both, Rafael and Georgina, to take the willingness to share this experience from South America and the Caribbean, and also to do it in a second language that is not our mother tongue, Espanol. So we appreciate your both efforts. I invite to the attendees to ask their question to our presenters by the chat or taking the mic. Now I see that is already with us in the state, Rocio Condor, who is the FAO official based in Rome, who is helping us to carry out this webinar series together with IPSA. For a start, maybe I can ask a first question to you both, starting with Rafael, about what were the main challenge that you face developing these new national forest inventories. So please, if you can share with us.
Yes, thank you very much, Nicolas, for your question. And one thing that I emphasize a lot in my presentation is the institutionalization of this new forest inventory. This is because our last forest inventory, the one that we have already done, it was done with a lot of external support, which is good, but we need it to be sustainable in the long term. And that's why in this new forest inventory, the institutionalization, the decisions, the protocols, the structure has been something that we have been taking care of since the very beginning. And now that we're ready to move forward to the implementation stage, this will be shown and how strong is our institutionality to deliver the objectives that we want to accomplish with our new forest inventory. We wish it is successful, and we are hoping to make it this model that is good for us. And I'll be happy to tell you about the results when it's ready.
Thank you, Rafael. Georgina, can you give us your opinion?
No le apreté. No le va a
Yes, thank you, Nicolas, for the question. I totally agree with Rafael. I think that the institutionalization is the first challenge that we have in the different countries. I think that this process required that all the system that we use, that the data that we use, and the reports that we need to make would be under the different institutions of in Chile, Ministerio de Agricultura, Ministerio de Medio Ambiente. We have a process of work, but we don't have the institutionalization of this process. Then it's a very big challenge for us and is related to the quality of the data and the information that we need to generate in different periods for our work. And I think that it will be every year more important because the climate change action committed by the country are gain relevance and importance. And I think that the challenges will be increased in the time.
Thank you, Georgina. For those who want to know more about the cases of Chile and Costa Rica and the others cases developed under the CDIT Forest Project, you can visit the FAO webpage that I am sharing now in the chat. I am also really happy to announce that now we can confirm the second episode of this webinar series. I'm also sharing the registration link in the chat. In this second episode, we will know more about the progress made in Africa through the case of Ghana. And we will meet the 29th of June at, well, I will not refer to the time since we are in different part of the world. Rocio, if you want to also take the floor and continue the conversation with our speakers.
Thank you very much, Nicolas. And I think I would like to thank again Rafael and Georgina for sharing with us the experiences from Costa Rica and Chile. Both presentations have shown us the importance of data and climate transparency in the forest sector, and they have emphasized something super important, which is also the process of institutionalization of their systems. Which it's for now maybe a challenge, but I'm pretty sure countries have advanced in moving forward toward this process of, you know, defining better their mandates and defining also their flows, their workflows. I also encourage other participants to follow us in the upcoming episodes. But let me also take advantage of this space and invite you to delve deeper into this subject of transparency. FAO has made available for free a series of educational material that can contribute to this end. We have developed a self-paced e-learning course on forests and transparency, and it is available actually in 6 UN languages. We have also e-learning modules on national forest inventories that are available. And already Nicolas shared with us the case studies. So I think it's a very good opportunity also to make available all this material for those that would like to learn more about forest and data transparency.
Thank you, Rocio. And I share yeah, I can share the chat and see that you already shared these courses in many languages, 6 languages in this FAO e-learning platform that you are developed on this project. So thank for sharing that info to our attendees and also to the people who will see the recording in the IFSA YouTube channel and also our free learning platform that is based in the IFSA webpage. So with that, I will close and end this first episode, the second session that we developed in English. And thanks again to our speakers and attendees.
Don't forget the photo.
Good point. So for the attendees who like to appear in the photo, you can turn on your camera. If not, Julie, maybe you can help me with the photo.